And guys, we back with another one. And today, we got to talk about this Dez Bryant, Stephen A. Smith thing. And Jemele Hill took a shot at Dez Bryant as well, which he responded to. For some context, we're going to check out some of the clips that Stephen A. Smith sent back as a response to Dez after he called out Malika the other day. And I'll be back to fill you in on the rest of the story. Let's peep it.
She's been getting some major heat, in particular for former NFL wide receiver Dez Bryant for ignoring the situation involving or surrounding NBA player Josh Giddey of the Oklahoma City Thunder and the accusations of him having an inappropriate relationship with an underage girl. First things first, before I get even any further, let me tell you what Dez Bryant had to say. Let me read that quote to you right now. Dez Bryant tweets, Malika Andrews, you went out of your way to crucify Brandon Miller, the #2 overall pick of the Charlotte Hornets on draft day, over something he didn't even do, wrote Bryant. Why haven't you said nothing about Josh Giddey? I advise you not to make this a black or white thing. Your parents really raised you wrong, and just because you went to a private school don't make you better. You appeal, and I know you're kind. You're just a puppet. I don't know how a former or current NBA player could sit there across from you and look at you with some kind of respect. Let me say this. Dez Bryant, I miss him. I miss Dez Bryant because I loved watching him as a wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys for those 8 years he was there before he suffered that injury and came back and tried to resume his career in Baltimore, and that didn't work out. I respect you, my brother, but that was a bit extreme. You see, without trying to get too involved in it, I feel compelled to get involved because I think that a lot of people are missing the issue involving Josh Giddey to begin with. Josh Giddey is being investigated for allegedly messing with an underage girl. We don't know the facts. And because we don't know the facts, and we represent a network, we have to make sure I's are dotted and T's are crossed before we provide commentary to that. The investigation is ongoing by the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder refuses to comment on it. Josh Giddey refuses to comment on it. And as a result, all we can keep doing is reminding everybody the brother being investigated. He's from Australia. He's being investigated for messing with an underage girl. That's problematic. And the NBA is investigating because next thing you know, they may take some heat because people may be asking them, what are you going to do about it? If this was the National Football League, chances are he would be put on a commissioner's exempt list where he wouldn't be allowed to play until the investigation was complete. Malika Andrews is a colleague of mine. There's no question about that. We got into our little tussle on the air after the Ime Udoka situation, or as that was brewing. She came at me in a certain way. I checked the situation the way I felt it needed to be checked. We had a conversation. Later, she apologized. I accepted her apology because I'm a human being and I make mistakes too. How in God's name does Malika Andrews not ask that question on draft night? She had to. I'm telling you, me or any other reporter that was in that situation has an obligation to ask a team, an NBA official, or somebody about that question. There is no wiggle room around it. If she hadn't asked that question, the bosses would have been wondering why she had that job. If I was sitting in her chair and I didn't ask that question, since after all he was the #2 overall pick and he was getting drafted and all of this residue was just months removed, I would have been asked, why do I have my job? That goes for any journalist. So we have to take that into consideration.
So after seeing that clip, Dez Bryant shot back at Stephen A. Smith on the internet. He said, I'd love to come on your show and provide more context on what I'm saying because I think a lot of you seem to miss my point. I don't mind talking about nothing I've been through to validate my point, even more on the unfair treatment against certain athletes in the media world. By the way, I chose not to go back to Baltimore. I got the text messages to prove it. I'm a man of integrity. I'm a man of respect. Me controlling my own narrative, showing the world who I am, means more than anything to me. And then he says, I ain't talking about the situation no more unless Stephen A. Smith and Malika Andrews want to talk on air. But I do want to apologize for coming so aggressive at Malika Andrews. But I do wonder if she even realizes how certain things look. Sports and media is a big deal to the culture. I battled my entire sports career pleading to the world. We are more than the game we play. We just need better help. Millions of dollars to do a job is not worth more than a human's mental, especially if you got family who loves you. I've experienced unfairness and saw white athletes get a slap on the wrist for doing stuff I know that will get you kicked off a team in a heartbeat. I really hate to make it seem like a black and white thing, but the unfairness is real. I know for me, I got tired of busting my behind going the extra mile just to still get disrespected. I'm just fed up looking at the cycle. I don't even like jumping on shows or podcasts, but I will on this topic. The elephant been in the room, but folks scared to speak on it. I ain't looking for brownie points. I ain't looking to make somebody look bad. The real ones know how I move. I am the voice of the people who are afraid to speak. I care to talk about perspective. So that's what Dez had to say in response to that. And Jemele Hill quoted one of Dez Bryant's tweets. She says, with all due respect, your tone and approach with Malika was out of line. You made it personal by bringing in how she was raised. You didn't bring any of that energy to any of the male broadcasters. She wasn't on air when the news about Josh Giddey happened and addressed it when she returned. So Dez Bryant responded, don't do that. I apologize, and I know you saw that before you decided to tweet at me. But how I feel remains. I'll go at whoever, however, male or female. Ain't nothing sweet. Y'all got to know by now, I don't care for the right reasons, and it's at an all-time high right now. I have respect for you, Jemele. Let's stay reasonable. So, okay, let me speak on a couple of things. Stephen A. Smith, you know, he's the big dog over there at ESPN, and he often comes to the defense of the people that he works with every day, right or wrong, and, you know, that aspect is commendable. He says, you know, Dez don't have all the facts about Malika and what he's talking about. That could be true, too. When he tries to make the comparison of the Brandon Miller thing, we don't have all the facts to that, right? He wasn't found guilty of anything, so there was no need to even speak about it at draft night. Now, obviously, your bosses do make you say certain things, or they do give you a script to read from. And what I will say is Kwame's been said that about y'all. So when you say it takes away from the validity of what Dez Bryant is saying, wouldn't it take away from your validity if you're script reading, right? If the boss is making you say certain things, then we know there's certain things you can't say, and your tongue is tied to a paycheck. So as far as validity, I would say that Dez Bryant would have more in what he's saying. He's coming from an honest place, whether the facts are right or not. I think if he's able to come from an honest place with no censor, then someone who's censored can't say you lose validity because you can't speak on certain topics. You can't go on there and say how you really feel about anything, you know. So that would be my rebuttal to him as far as that. Again, I understand I'm taking up for it, and Dez may have some of the things wrong, but as far as Malika and this bet she's made for herself, that's actually factual. So, Stephen A., tell me this. Why would she even mention Adrian Payne's thing after his death? That's the one. I think that's the one that really stuck in everyone's craw. You could even say, okay, the bosses made her say this, that, and the third about everybody else, you know, because they allow Udoka, you know, she takes that tone and she gets really upset with Udoka. We didn't like that. We didn't like her talking out on Kobe's career after he had passed. We didn't like that. But the way Adrian Payne was gunned down, and then the topic turned to something he did at Michigan State as a teenager, early 20-year-old. Man is over 30 years old now. What in the world are we talking about? You see what I'm saying? So that was my issue with Malika, and she's kind of made this bed for herself. Even if the network is saying that, at some point you could push back. We all understand that her father has power, so he was able to get her on there really fast. She's risen up the ranks really fast, and we've seen that. She's willing to say anything about brothers of color, and that has been tied into her ascension. It's not about you coming up sometimes, it's how you come up, and that's left a nasty stench on her name, man. I will say that. You know, and Jemele Hill, she's just, you don't even work at ESPN no more. I don't know why you're inserting yourself in this. I don't know, man. It's like every woman thing, she comes in and just tries to go at people. But I don't think Dez should have apologized, man. I really don't. I think he had, a nice foundation to speak on. And, Stephen A. need to have him on his show. I'm pretty sure Stephen A. will oblige and do that if his bosses let him do it in his off time, because I'm sure, he goes through them and he makes sure nothing looks too crazy. I don't know what his contract looked like, but I know he's trying to do his own thing now, which is really good. I applaud that. But I would say, Stephen A., part of the reason you're trying to even do your own show is to be able to say more of what you want. I think you even said it on one of your shows. So we can't get mad at Dez for calling out the elephant in the room, because rest assured, Malika was trying to blow your spot up on TV and make people cancel you when she went in. Now, she apologized when it didn't go her way, but you have to ask yourself in the back of your mind, if it would have went her way and you would have got canceled and looked at as some type of misogynistic man or something like that, would she had extended this same olive branch to you? That's all I want to ask, man, because I really want to know. But let me know in the comments section how you feel about this. Guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, peace.